The importance of SMEs to the global economic picture, but also the global climate picture, can't really be understated. That 90% of businesses, more than 50% of employment comes from SMEs. But I would also just say, as a storyteller, SMEs have some of the most interesting and compelling stories. Tell us a little bit about the challenge and opportunities for SMEs and the work that you're doing.
The SMEs in their various regions around the world, they know what works. They have been engaged with the local communities. They have the boots on the ground. I don't want to parachute in from Silicon Valley and go into a local community and tell the farmer what to do. If I were to do that, then the farmer would not trust me at all. But this is where the SMEs come in. They've been there in those local communities for a very, very long time. And they understand what makes the farmers, the ranchers, the local communities tick, and how they can actually be a part of the climate transition story. So by engaging with them, we were able to work in a trusted way with farmers and ranchers and pastoralists and all sorts of stakeholder, local landowner groups, properly, with proper free and prior informed consent and all of that, to enable them to actually be a part of the story with local solutions.
The MasterCard Economics Institute came out with a study recently that surveyed small businesses in an area that's affected by an extreme weather event, for example, a hurricane. And what it showed was 9 days before the hurricane hits the local region that's going to be affected, businesses are starting to be impacted, up to 16 days post, let's say, the hurricane or extreme weather event. So that's almost a month, right, that your business is going to be impacted by this extreme weather event. What it found was, if you were a business that was brick and mortar only, typically your revenue declined about 50%, right, during that month. And very interestingly, if you happen to be brick and mortar but also had an online presence, that reduced to about 20% of your revenue being impacted. So huge difference, right, in terms of the resilience and the capability and the revenue stream, like back to the capital and the money that is needed. I think that's a really powerful example.
I think ultimately this comes down to risk appetite, right? So on one hand, you have the SME looking at this mighty conglomerate procurement department, seemingly brick wall, how do you get past? And on the other hand, you have the procurement who is saying, we need scale, we need economies of scale. You invest as much time in onboarding a supplier, etc. So it is at some level about risk appetite. And I think partnerships are very important. Blended finance, co-financing is very important. It de-risks that decision. So for example, we've got a partnership with the UK government, FCDO. It's a £90 million partnership. It's co-financed by Unilever and FCDO. This is all about small and medium enterprises. And this is all about those ideas that are brilliant ideas, game changers, just don't have enough scale to get past the brick wall. And I think that's where then it gives you space to innovate, try, fail, learn, and then, bake your idea to take it to that kind of scale.
My mom was a small business owner. She started to organize the market women that shut down the markets in Nigeria. She organized the oil workers union in a country where oil accounted for government revenues to the tune of about 90%. Then she financed the oil workers to go on strike. It nearly brought down the government. So when the government wanted to respond, they ambushed her car and gunned her down. And that's sad, but that movement that she was financing didn't stop with her death and really led to the restoration of democracy to the most populous Black nation on the planet. So when I look at African women entrepreneurs, I see the seeds of transformation and change. The people of Nigeria have a right to democracy. Women's rights are human rights, and that you shouldn't just go around assassinating women just because you don't like what they have to say. African women lead the world in setting up businesses, and they also lead the world at the rate at which their businesses fail. We will need to do more than talk and mentor and counsel and actually start to put money behind them, which is why Vital Voices now, we want to set up a fund precisely to do that.